Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
So we will read from Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is, text chapter 6, text 47, translation purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So you try to repeat as far as possible. Yoginam api sarvesham madgatinam taratmana Shravan bhajate yomam Same yukta tamo mataha Yoginam api sarvesham Madgatinam taratmana Shravan bhajate yomam Same yukta tamo mataha
Yoginamapi sarvesham Matkatenantar atmana Shadavan bhajate yomam Same yukta tamo mataha
Yoginam of yogis. Api also. Sarvesham all types of. Matgatinam abiding in me. Always thinking of me. Anta Atmana within himself. Shraddhavan in full faith. Bhajate renders transcendental loving service. Yaha one who. Mam to me, the Supreme Lord. Saha he. Me by me. Yukta tamaha the greatest yogi. Mataha is considered. So Krishna is speaking to Arjuna, and in this 6th chapter he has explained the process of Ashtanga Yoga, meditation. Nowadays many people have some idea what this means, although in the West they think it means just sitting like this, close eyes a little bit for 15 minutes, blank mind, don't think of anything. I don't know, I'm not a yoga studio visitor, but more or less. And you become relaxed, right? Your stress goes down. Your mind becomes a little bit peaceful compared to the rest of the day. And it's great. I'm a yogi. This is not exactly what Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita. Just to summarize it very briefly, you don't go to a yoga studio. You go to the forest. or in a cave, alone. Complete celibacy. Forget it, right? 99.9% will say, well, not for me. And then you have to start to go through the different stages. Ashtanga means 8 stages of meditation. And they begin with yama niyama, which nobody likes. Yama means you have to do something. Maybe I don't like what you have to do. Niyama, don't do this. Oh, so many things I'd like to do, don't do this. And then asana. Okay, asana, everybody likes asana. We sit, lotus position. Go like this, right? Then what's the next? Pranayama. Pranayama. That also everybody likes. Some kind of breathing exercise. Pratyahara, right? Dharana and samadhi. So basically people stick to asana and pranayama. So it's not ashtanga, dui-shtanga yoga, 2-step yoga, which will not lead to perfection, for sure. So after explaining that, then Arjuna complains. He says, what you have explained, it's impossible. I cannot do this. Because the mind is very flickering, always going chanchala, going from here to there. And to control that, it's very difficult. It's more difficult than capturing the wind. So anybody has tried to capture wind? You imagine the wind is blowing. So now you have to, and don't let it go anywhere. No, not possible. So he says the mind is worse than that. It's more difficult. So therefore, no, I can't do this. So then at the end of the chapter, this is the last verse, Krishna says, don't worry, you are already the greatest of all yogis. You don't have to do all that stuff that I explained to you, because madgatinantaratmana, within yourself, you're thinking of me. And that's the highest perfection. So we will read the translation of the verse of all yogis. And that not only Ashtanga yogis, Jnana yogis, Karma yogis, Hatha yogis, Kriya yogis, hot yoga is also. The hot yoga yogis, the aero yogis, you know aero yoga? You have heard about aero yoga? Yeah, everybody knows what is aero yoga? Okay. So the aero yogas, what else we have? You get one more?
Dog yoga.
Huh? Dog yoga. I also saw...
dog is something with
but I saw a goat yoga.
Goat yoga.
There's also aqua yoga.
Aqua yoga, goat yoga. So anything you may imagine, forget about it. It's not necessary. The greatest yogi, the one who with great faith, Shraddhavan, abides in me, thinks of me, is meditating on me, and renders transcendental loving service. He's the most intimate, connected, united with me in yoga, and is the highest of all. So that's what we should try to do. So let's see Srila Prabhupada's purport. The word bhajate, you put it on the screen, then why do I have to read it? The word bhajate is significant here. So you just check, I don't speculate, right? Okay. Bhajate has its root in the word bhaj, which is used when there is need of service. The English word worship cannot be used in the same sense as bhaj, because sometimes we translate even bhaja to worship or to adore. Actually it's more, the meaning is more deep. Worship means to adore or to show respect and honor to a worthy one. But service with love and faith is especially meant for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that's why we always speak of devotional service, right? And one may wonder, where is this coming from? But we all should know, what is the Sanskrit word which Prabhupada translated as devotional service? Is it seva, what is devotion? Yeah, I'm saying, Prabhupada translated a Sanskrit word as devotional service, which others don't do. Obviously. Bhakti, that's right. Bhakti, yeah. So, and if you would go to India and ask somebody to translate bhakti, I think nobody will translate as devotional service, right? They will just say devotion, probably, or something like, or some will say love, but not devotional service. So the service point is so important. Prabhupada wanted to emphasize it's not just I have some devotion to somebody. What does it mean? It manifests in service. So therefore, Bhaj, it means service with love and faith is especially meant for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One can avoid worshipping a respectable man or a demigod and may be called discourteous. But one cannot avoid serving the Supreme Lord without being thoroughly condemned. Well, we'll speak about that, so nobody gets the wrong idea. Every living entity is part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thus, every living entity is intended to serve the Supreme Lord by his own constitution. Failing to do this, he falls down. The Bhagavatam 11.5.3 confirms this as follows. Yaesham purusham sakshat atman prabhavam ishwaram nabhajantya avajananti stanat brashta patantyadaha. Anyone who does not render service and neglects his duty unto the primeval Lord, who is the source of all living entities, will certainly fall down from his constitutional position. In this verse, also, the word bhajanti is used. Therefore, bhajanti is applicable to the Supreme Lord only, whereas the word worship can be applied to demigods or to any other common living entity. The word avajananti, used in this verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, is also found in the Bhagavad Gita. Avajananti mamudha. Only the fools and rascals deride the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. Such fools take it upon themselves to write commentaries on the Bhagavad Gita without an attitude of service to the Lord, and consequently they cannot properly distinguish between the word bhajanti and the word worship. The culmination of all kinds of yoga practice lies in bhakti yoga. All other yogas are but means to come to the point of bhakti and bhakti yoga. Yoga actually means bhakti yoga. All other yogas are progressions toward the destination of bhakti yoga. From the beginning of karma yoga to the end of bhakti yoga is a long way to realization. Karma yoga without fruitive results is the beginning of this path. When karma yoga increases in knowledge and renunciation, the stage is called jnana yoga. When jnana yoga increases in meditation on the super soul by different physical processes, and the mind is on him, it is called ashtanga yoga. And when one surpasses the ashtanga yoga and comes to the point of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, it is called bhakti yoga, the culmination. Factually, bhakti yoga is the ultimate goal. But to analyze bhakti yoga minutely, one has to understand these other yogas, and the yogi who is progressive is therefore on the true path of eternal good fortune. One who sticks to a particular point and does not make further progress is called by that particular name: Karma Yogi, Jnana Yogi, or Dhyana Yogi, Raja Yogi, Hatha Yogi, etc. If one is fortunate enough to come to the point of Bhakti Yoga, it is to be understood that he has surpassed all other yogas. Therefore, to become Krishna conscious is the highest stage of yoga. Just when we speak of Himalaya, we refer to the world's highest mountains, of which the highest peak, Mount Everest, is considered to be the culmination. It is by great fortune that one comes to Krishna consciousness on the path of Bhakti Yoga to become well situated according to the Vedic direction. The ideal yogi concentrates his attention on Krishna, who is called Shyama Sundara, who is as beautifully colored as a cloud, whose lotus-like face is as effulgent as the sun, whose dress is brilliant with jewels, and whose body is flower garlanded. Illuminating all sides is his gorgeous luster, which is called the Brahma Jyoti. He incarnates in different forms such as Rama, Nisingha, Varaha, and Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he descends like a human being as the son of Mother Yashoda and is known as Krishna, Govinda, and Vasudeva. He is the perfect child, husband, friend, and master, and is full with all opulences and transcendental qualities. If one remains fully conscious of these features of the Lord, he is called the highest yogi. This stage of highest perfection in yoga can be attained only by Bhakti Yoga, as confirmed in all Vedic literature. Yasya deve para bhaktir yatha deve tatha gurau tasyayate katita yartha prakashante mahatmana. Only unto those great souls who have implicit faith in both the Lord and the spiritual master are all imports of Vedic knowledge automatically revealed. Bhaktirasya bhajanam tat imam propadi naishreyan manushmim manakalpanam etat eva naishkarmyam. Bhakti means devotional service to the Lord which is free from desire for material profit, either in this life or in the next. Devoid of such inclinations, one should fully absorb the mind in the Supreme. That is the purpose of Naishkarmya. This is from Gopala Tapani Upanishad 115. These are some of the means for performance of Bhakti or Krishna consciousness, the highest perfectional stage of the yoga system. So, yoginam api sarvesham matgatinantara sharavan bhajate yomam samiyuktatamo mataha. Of all yogis, the one with great faith, who always abides in me, thinks of me within himself, and renders transcendental loving service to me. He is the most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. That is my opinion. So let us look at, when I said we'll get back to this, when Prabhupada says that one can avoid worshipping a respectable man or a demigod, and may be called discourteous. But one cannot avoid serving the Supreme Lord without being thoroughly condemned, which sounds extreme, right? We don't like to hear something like that. Because we are under the impression that every human being is free. It's a very important, how could you say, well, a quality or a characteristic of being a human being, that we can determine what we want to do, where we want to live, how we want to dress, what kind of haircut we want to have, do we want to have a beard or not, do we want to even change maybe, well, so many things by plastic surgery. So, yeah, we want to decide who I am, how I present myself to the world, how people should see me. And basically, yes, I am free. I feel free. There's a lot of songs like that. In the same vein, I feel free. I feel free, but you're not free. That's the problem. You may be feeling free, but it's illusion. And that's the point that Srila Prabhupada wants to make. And it may sound, as I said, extreme, that you cannot avoid serving the Supreme Lord without being thoroughly condemned. My God, what kind of religion is this? But then he explains it practically in the next sentence. Very simple. Practically one sentence is enough. Every living entity is part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thus every living entity is intended to serve the Supreme Lord by his own constitution. So what can we do? We're condemned to be servants. You like it or you don't like it, you cannot change that. It's called a constitution, or in Sanskrit, dharma. The Sanatan Dharma or Swadharma, the real Swadharma. That is a characteristic that one cannot change. And Srila Prabhupada also applies this. Well, we could apply this practically to anything. He says, what is the dharma? Now I'm going to ask you, what is your name? He doesn't even look at me. Yeah, you. No, you. No, not you. You also maybe, but first him. What's your name? You speak German, English, Russian, Deutsch? Was ist dein Name?
Noah.
Noah, der mit der Arche Noah. Okay. So, was ist das Dharma vom Zucker? Was ist das Merkmal von Zucker? What is the Dharma of sugar? Sweetness. If sugar is not sweet, it's not sugar, right? I mean, Prabhupada speaks like this. He said if sugar is spicy, hot, it's not sugar really. I mean, you may call it sugar, but how can you call this sugar? It's not sugar. Indian sugar, well. Or let's say chili. What's the dharma of chili? Everybody knows. It's hot. And if it's
also Indian.
But if it's not hot, what kind of chili is it? You got it? You get the idea? What is the dharma of water? Ja, Wasser ist flüssig. Das ist das Dharma vom Wasser, ist flüssig. Now we do have ice. Is ice water?
Somehow.
What means somehow? I mean, is it or not?
Yes.
Yes, it is. But there's the but somehow. What is the but? It's not flüssig. It's not liquid. So what has happened? Something external changed apparently the constitution. Not really, because if the temperature just increases a little bit more. I mean, below zero, even 1 minus 0, it will become ice, right? As far as I understand. I'm not a physicist expert, but I think anything below 0, if it's water, will turn into ice. Okay. So if it goes to 0, what happens at 0? I would think of that. But is it liquid or is it ice? It's still liquid? Sure? No? Oh, you got somebody who disagrees. Now we have to go into Google and find out what is happening with water at 0 degree. But anyway, the point is at minus 0 it becomes ice. So there is some external condition that changes the, we would say, normal condition of what is water, which is liquid, into a different form. But when it comes back to above 0, let's say, we don't argue, plus 1 is sufficient to make it liquid. It's cold, that's okay. Very cold. Take a shower with 1 degree water. Now it's okay. I would really like to have now 0 degree water, 1 degree water. I think it's really refreshing. Now in the winter we like to have hot water, and if you bring it up to, I don't know, even before boiling, well, even boiling, what happens? It also transforms, right, into steam. But then if it comes to some glass, it will transform, it becomes cold, the steam becomes
Condensed water.
enfriado. What would that be in English? Es wird kalt wieder. Oh my God, now I have 3 languages I have to get out: Spanish, German, English. So it's steam, and then it becomes cold. Okay, I don't have another word. It just becomes cold, and then it turns into water again. So the living entity, by its constitution, actually it also has love for Krishna. It's not just a servant. Servant, to be a servant, that's the Dharma, that's the constitution. But also, therefore Prabhupada translates bhakti as loving devotional service. We're not just slaves. Service sounds really, we don't like. Nobody likes to serve. Everybody wants to be served. But it's combined with love. And that's the real constitution, and that is confirmed in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhu Kavi Noi Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte Kavaya Udai. That Nitya Siddha, it's eternal, and it's in a perfect condition. Love of Krishna is in the heart of every living entity. So therefore, Prabhupada uses that way, the term condemned. You cannot change it. What can you do? You may say, well, I don't want to love Krishna. Okay, you can forget it. But you cannot change this condition. Actually, the love is still there. But you can cover it over. You can forbear, you can push it into the back of your mind, so you don't remember. You can forget it completely. But it's there. And then when the conditions are right, your mind becomes purified by hearing about Krishna, by chanting about Krishna. Then it manifests, it just comes out. Just like you have a seed of anything, any plant. And if you just put it on the ground, and there's no water, no sunshine, probably will stay there as it is, more or less, right? Or even if you leave it outside, you can have a package of seeds, and they will not start to sprout. So consciousness, we can compare it as this. If the conditions are like the seeds outside, outside of soil and no water, no sunshine, no change takes place. But if the conditions are right, you get a first soil, you get sunshine and water, and then suddenly the seed opens and something starts to grow. So bhakti, you can see the love of Krishna, the devotion of service. It's in the Dharma like a seed. And then when the conditions are right, you come in contact with Keshava and the devotees of his own world, and you hear about Krishna chant and meet other devotees, and then suddenly maybe plants start to grow. That's how it works. I don't like this. That's your job. Yes, you're free to do that. But it's still can be done another way. That's the problem. Maybe an atheist. I don't really know what I mean. It's anything to do with Krishna or all this service. I don't like it. That's your choice. True. But your constitution will change by that. You may forget, you may cover it, but you cannot change your conduct eternally to be a yogi. And by the yogi, in one sense, be a servant or loving servant. And the good news is, you may not like it. You may say, I never met anything with it, I never thought about it, I never come back here. One time I had enough. That you see all these crazy people, and all this chanting, I don't like it. The Sarasana now, actually very nice. Now they're already then you want to come back and but even sometimes we feel stupid. I don't like Prasadana. So you made a very Krishna in all his different forms, but you cannot change your consequences. So sometime in the future, again, Krishna will make some way and you will be confronted with Krishna and his devotees, and then again you can choose. What will I do? And the problem is, if you avoid it, I really don't like it, this and the other thing. But still, within the natural tendency of the living entity, everybody wants to be happy and enjoy life. And unless we will say, you don't have to believe us, but we will say, unless you are conscious, you cannot be happy. That's the problem. Everybody wants it. Everybody wants to be no suffering, no stress, right? No problems. Nobody wants these things. We all want to be 100% happy all the time. You want to play all the time. Nobody wants to go to... He said, yes, of course. Who is working still? Yes, still a job. He's not jobless. So, yeah, you work because you need the money, right? But you also like to have vacation. Would you like to have always vacation? So to go to Krishna means always vacation. And you don't have to pay for it. It's free. And no corona. It's corona-free eternal vacation. Fantastic. But we have to do some service. Yeah, you have to work something. But it's not the same, and that's the whole point. Although we are eternal servants, the service to Krishna is not the service we know in this world. Because that's our problem. We hear about service and immediately the reaction is negative. Nobody likes to serve. Because it means somebody tells you what to do. And we don't like to be told what to do. But if everybody wants to serve us, oh great. I like that. And more than one, better, everybody. But no, the point is, if we are in connection with Krishna, this service is not the same type of service as in the material world. It's loving devotional service, and it's full of joy. Susukham kartam avyayam, Krishna said. Even in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna already, he tells Arjuna everything. He said, this process is very confidential, but if you do it, it's actually joyful. And it talks about the yogis, the one here we have the best of the yogis. So they experience joy when they perform devotional service, when they hear about me, when they speak about me, and that's the reality. One becomes fully joyful, and therefore the idea of service being something negative, it's a wrong conception. In devotional service, the service is nothing negative. It's actually the source of all enjoyment. So therefore, we should try to get to that. That's the whole process of Krishna consciousness, or Bhakti Yoga. Because right now that's our problem. We have forgotten. Maybe our liquid nature has turned to ice. Yeah, we have to get rid of that artificial constitution, which is imposed. It's not the real constitution of our real self. And so the whole process of chanting and hearing and taking prasadam also, and engaging in some practical service, it's all meant to bring us back to the constitution of liquid water, the real normal constitution of the living entity, and then we will experience whatever is described. We will really experience that. It's not just some theory, and that's the whole process. So I think enough talk. Any doubts or comments? So now it's your turn. Or I will ask questions to you. See whether you have paid attention. So you can ask.
In the beginning, Maharaj, we read that Arjuna is complaining to Krishna that it is very difficult to control the mind. But then Krishna is assuring Arjuna that you are the best of the yogis because you are constantly thinking about me. Is that Krishna saying to Arjuna that you already attained perfection, but then still Arjuna is complaining something even at the stage of perfection?
No, I mean when Krishna explains about Ashtanga Yoga, that he has to go into the forest and sit down and meditate, he says, I cannot do this. He is a kshatriya, and it's not even his nature to become this type of yogi. But what Krishna's point is, he explains the process of Ashtanga Yoga. Before he explained Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga, 4th chapter and 5th chapter. And this is 6th chapter. So, but at the end he will say Sarva Dharma Parityaja. Forget about whatever I have explained, you just forget about that. And you just surrender unto me. So because Arjuna has already surrendered, Krishna will come to that later on in Bhagavad Gita, but actually Arjuna already has come to that point because, Shishyasteham Prapannam, I surrender unto you, please instruct me. So he already passed that point. So, and Bhagavad Gita is instruction for us finally. Arjuna doesn't have to learn Bhagavad Gita. He poses as as bewildered as Krishna's disciple. So Krishna will speak about all these things for our benefit. But again, this process of Ashtanga Yoga, nobody can really do this, as I said in the beginning. We may do asana and pranayama more or less, not even exactly how it is. But the rest of it, we cannot really do. So, therefore, thinking of Krishna, by hearing about him and chanting about him. That's actually the goal even of the Ashtanga Yoga. What is samadhi? What is this meditation meant for? To come to samadhi. What is samadhi? The mind is 100% absorbed in Krishna, or the Supreme. The yogi in the beginning has no idea of Krishna. He wants to attain the Supreme. So he will first of all realize the super soul in the heart. But the next step is to actually understand, that behind that there is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So then he comes to be engaging in devotional service. As long as the Ashtanga yogi just sits there and meditates, that's not perfection. It's passive. It's not devotional service, therefore it's called devotion. It's not just devotion. You may say, I'm already devoted. I just sit and meditate. No, that's not sufficient. Service. You have to do service. So that's the point. But Arjuna already has come to that. So therefore, Krishna says, you're the best of all the yogis. Because what they are supposed to attain, you already have attained. But anybody can attain this very easily, and that's another aspect we haven't talked about, by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the Panchatattva. Because as Prabhupada explains, Krishna will say, you surrender unto me, but it's very difficult. Who can surrender unto Krishna? He said this 5,000 years ago. How many have surrendered? So he came again as a devotee just to show how to do that. And it's not very difficult. You just chant and dance and take prasada. That's all, more or less. That's what we say. Chant and be happy. There's a little Kleindruck, ne? Small print, Kleingedruckte, auf der anderen Seite. Ne? But actually, yes, you start, just chant and be happy. That's the first step. Then later we'll show you the small print. Not immediately. So, but yeah, it's okay. So, was noch? Wow, das hört sich schlecht an. Ja, okay. Ja.
How can you prove to someone that how can you prove to someone that our constitutional position is to be a servant of Krishna?
Okay. How can we prove to somebody that our constitutional position is to be the servant of Krishna? You cannot prove that. Sorry. But, as Prabhupada points out, we are by constitution servants. That we can prove. Everybody just look at their own lives. You cannot avoid service. You may call it in a different way, but if you analyze it, everybody is serving somebody all the time. And if you don't have somebody to serve, then what you do? You get a dog. Or cat. Ladies get cats, and the guys get a pit bull. But you will be the servant, and you can see it. Because in the morning, people don't like to get up so early Sunday morning, right? I chanted japa this morning, and there was this guy with his pit bull, at 5 o'clock in the morning. You think he really likes to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning to take out the pit bull? He wants to sleep.
Unconditional love.
But unconditional love for the pit bull. So the pit bull says, come on, it's time to go. All right, and then he has to go with the pit bull. Not the pit bull goes with him. If the pit bull goes to the Laternenpfahl, wie heißt es, street lamp, and wants to raise his one leg and make his mark, you have to wait. Then he sniffs around. And you say, no? Okay. Are you finished? No? Come on. So you're the servant. Then you come home. Who is waiting for you? The wife in the door. Where have you been? Because she didn't maybe notice that you already had been there, and now you had gone out with the big pit bull. She thinks you have been out all night. Oh, I'm very sorry. What can I do for you? Don't be angry. Then the children come. Today is Sunday. I want to go here and there and everywhere. Oh my God. Okay, let's go. So, then Monday morning, tomorrow morning, you have to go back to work, right? And you're not the boss. Even if you're the boss, maybe you have to call somebody who, to get his favor, you have to do some service. And if you're not the boss, then somebody will tell you what to do today. So, you maybe get paid, but still you're a servant. So if you think about it, you're always serving somebody, either the dog or the family, or you said your body, which also is true. You said, no, I don't serve anybody. What about your senses? And then you go to the restaurant. You just passed by. You didn't even think about going to eat something. But then the smell comes out and enters into your nose. Wow, this is my favorite. And then you have to, serve the tongue and maybe the belly, whatever. Or the eyes want to see something and the ears want to hear something, and so many senses are, I want this, okay, yeah, we go here, we go there. What else we have as service? The point is, if you're honest, you recognize we are servants. That's unavoidable. If you have a family and you have children, you know for sure you are a servant. Even if you are the chef im Haus, der Herr im Haus. You think you are the master of the house. Not really. Yeah, you have to serve the family. That's where you get into. So, and we explain from the Vaishnava point of view, philosophically, that this tendency to serve, because it's universal, if you look at it, everybody is serving somehow or other. It doesn't matter where you are born, what country, or whatever. All these things are secondary. So, why is it like this? Because originally we are Krishna's servants. So you may accept that or not, that's another thing. But then we have to get in more philosophy, that we are not the body, we are spirit soul, and we are eternal, and we are changing from one situation to another, and all the situations we are always serving, and this is because the soul is servant. So then it's your choice to agree, yes, I can understand that, or you reject it. But even if you reject it, and you don't want to serve Krishna, then you have to serve the pit bull. That's all. You have to serve somebody, or a cat. I mean, it's your choice. You can serve a pit bull, or a cat, or your family, or your boss, or your country. It's a very important recipient of service. I serve my country. You ask Trump, who you serve? I serve the American people. That's what they say. And you ask Angela, I'm serving the German citizens. I mean, they really believe that, and they may actually try to. They believe it, and they try their best. I want to just serve everybody. I want the best, the king. Yes, I want the best for my people. So ultimately, they're called public servants, isn't it? They're public servants. They're serving the public. They may take advantage, that's another thing. But actually, officially, they're all public servants. So we are servants. Would you agree with that at least? We are servants. Okay. So now you have a choice to serve the country, or the family, or the pit bull, or you serve the supreme. What about that? That's actually the best, no? To serve the supreme of everybody, who is the supreme controller of everything. It's like serving the king. That's the best type of service. Actually, Prabhupada says that. He says, everybody tries to get some, at least in India, government service. If you get government service, then problems of life are solved, no? You get a pension, you get a guaranteed, your job is guaranteed. Even, I think, in Europe it's like that. if you're a Bundestagsabgeordneter oder Lehrer, you're in, what is it called? Öffentlicher Dienst? Beamter, ne? Öffentlicher Dienst, Beamter. It means, well, können kündigen?
Also nur wenn sie irgendwie...
Aber da musst du schon was...
Sehr fahrlässig.
Sonst nicht, ne? So that's the point. If you're a good servant in the public service of the government or the school system or politics, then your job is guaranteed. Your pay is guaranteed, and when you retire, your pension is guaranteed. So therefore, and in India especially, because the system is a little fragile, whoever can get a government job, his life problems are practically solved. So therefore Prabhupada says that. You know, everybody likes to get the government service because it's so secure. So therefore, Krishna is the supreme government. If you can get into Krishna's service, that's the best of all. Because it's eternal, he will take care of you, he says that. He already does, but if you become a servant, he will take personal care. So what more you want? Then all your problems are solved. And if not, then you opt for the second class, third class, fourth class service. So Krishna service, we call it the first class service. Government service, second class. Family service, third class. Pitbull service, sixth class, or no number. It's really down the line. But it's all relative. So the first class is Krishna service. So let's try to do that. Why not? We have to serve anyway, this way or that way, so why not become Krishna service? Krishna servant in Krishna service. And as I said, then you will, if you just try it, you can just, let's see, I'm not sure. You try it, then you will see the reality of how this service actually gives you full satisfaction. And you become happy. That's what it's all about. We try to become happy by serving the family, or serving the country, or whatever. Even serving the dog, we think, very nice. But it's not giving real satisfaction. So Krishna service will give that. And it's just a matter of direct experience. Therefore Krishna says, Susukham kartum avyayam. You try it, you just do, then you will notice. In Bhagavatam also we have Yayatma suprasidati. Or the other one, Evang prasanna manaso. How does it end? Oh, the one before Stita Pragya. Evang prasanna manaso, that already says it. Prasanna. The mind becomes joyful. Brahmabhuta prasanatma. Prasanatma. Prasanna means that. So as soon as you get into Krishna service, you become joyful. That's the natural consequence. So it's very practical. If you don't believe it, just try it and you'll see. If you do it right, of course. Not just wishy-washy, that will not work. But that's with everything. You do it wishy-washy, what do you expect? You don't get the result. Clear? So I think I'm practically exactly on time.
2 minutes. Yeah.
2 minutes. 2-minute question. So now you know what is Dharma, right? And weißt, was Dharma ist? Was ist das Dharma vom Feuer? Das Merkmal vom Feuer. Was? Feuer. Eiskalt. Okay?
Sag mal, was heißt es?
Richtig. Und was noch? 2. Heiß und?
Wenn es dunkel ist?
Licht. Ja. Hast du was gelernt heute? Characteristic Dharma, now you know what Dharma is. You think about anything. Fire, the Dharma of fire, light and heat. Of water, to be liquid. And if it's not light and heat, there's no fire. You may call it fire, but that's like, anyway. Nowadays everything is artificial, right? They call it something, it's not. How? Because it doesn't have the characteristic really. Okay, Hare Krishna. So I think we stop here then, it's okay? Thank you. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Bhagavad Gita ki jai.
So respected.
Shri Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Thank you.